For thousands of years, the Winnipesaukee River has been a vital part of the vast New England watershed system known as the Merrimack Valley Watershed. Legacy of the last ice age, this vast system has been a major feature of New Hampshire's social and economic development. Most of New Hampshire's early settlements were aligned along its various river systems. Laconia was no exception. The Winnipesaukee River branch of the Merrimack offered easy access for early settlers to this area. Before long, businesses began to take advantage of the rivers in the lakes region, and soon large and small mills dotted the area. The major mill owners from the Lowell area purchased some rights to the Lakeport Dam, but that didn't stop local businesses from using the water. As early as 1823, the Belknap Mill was built on the banks of the Winnipesaukee River. As time passed, more and more businesses built or added to their existing structures. Water was not only used for water power, but to carry away wastes and to use the water in various manufacturing projects, such as wool dyeing. By the beginning of the modern post-war period, there were few places for Laconians to see their river. But by then the river had become a dirty, unsanitary mess and not of great interest to people. Many fish species had been killed off or were unfit to eat. Business had used the rivers to help power their industrial revolution and make this country the greatest in the world. But times were a-changing. Power was now being generated hundreds of miles away. Business was relocating away from the congested Northeast. Laconia was left, like many New England towns, with decaying, abandoned mill buildings along its river. Beginning in the mid-1960s, two different forces came together that would transform Laconia. In 1966, Laconia embarked on an urban renewal project that would forever change the face of downtown Laconia. And in 1972, the first Clean Water Act would begin to restore the river's quality to pre-industrial levels. By 1969, most of the wooden buildings clustered on the banks of Laconia's waterfront were swept away. While many think Laconia failed in its first downtown revitalization, not everything was negative. Even though the old buildings were gone and the water quality restored, it would take a new generation of Laconians to begin to see new possibilities in their river. In 1991, the Planning Board's Master Plan Update said, "The Winnipesaukee River, which flows through downtown, now serves as a barrier. It also may play a key role in potential revitalization efforts." In 1995, the Laconia Rotary was one of the first groups to see new possibilities with the creation of Rotary Riverside Park. In August of 1996, the Laconia Planning Board convened a public forum on the waterfront. Over 100 people turned out to talk about their ideas and listen to others. During the same time, the Belknap Mill Society began a 2-year process called Downtown Focus, which brought together many people to talk about the cultural, economic, and historic features and possibilities of downtown Laconia. The end result of this was a vision statement, identification of some goals, and artistic renderings of some of the many ideas that emerged from this important study. In the future, downtown Laconia is a clearly defined townscape. The river is the focal point and unites the welcoming natural and built environments. Aesthetic and economic reinvestment respect the cultural heritage. People move freely and enjoy the abundant opportunities for recreation, commerce, and entertainment. For the first time, the concept of a Riverwalk was articulated. Ironically, many felt that the operating Allen Rogers plant was a barrier to waterfront development. It was an anachronistic holdover from another era, albeit a significant employer. Be careful what you ask for. In the summer of 1999, Allen Rogers closed. However, many saw this as a golden opportunity. It sparked city planners and Laconia Business Group to convene a planning charrette at Allen Rogers. At the same time, a special committee on zoning created a new zone called the Downtown Riverfront District. This zone changed the development potential of much of the downtown riverfront from industrial to uses more congenial to the vision enunciated a few years before. But this was just the beginning. In 2001, Laconia actively pursued the goal of becoming a New Hampshire Main Street community. Drawing on a decade of community development and social capital, a group calling themselves the Main Street Initiative started drawing in people and ideas to weave into a movement and eventual selection as a Main Street community. During this energetic period, Chinburg Builders, a successful Seacoast property redeveloper, began seriously studying the Allen Rogers property and downtown Laconia. Many conversations were held with the city, the new Laconia Main Street organization, the Laconia Business Group, and each came away impressed with the other's vision for downtown redevelopment. Looking back to the Downtown Focus Group and the Planning Charrette in 1999, the proposed redevelopment of the property by Chinburg Builders is literally a dream come true. Ironically, this was not the first time that Laconia proactively pursued its dreams for the property. Laconia Car Company had been the previous tenant of the same property. As a manufacturer of railway cars, their fortunes declined during the post-World War I period. As automobile traffic increased, passenger service fell off. Eventually, the Laconia Car Company closed in 1928. A local group of business leaders operating as the Laconia Industrial Corporation brought together 3 New England companies to come together and form Allen Rogers Corporation in 1936. The company employed several hundred people and produced all types of turned wood products, from golf tees, wooden Easter eggs for the White House, wooden cores for the hula hoop, and salt shakers for the table. Today, the riverfront area between the Church and Fair Street bridges is a mixture of urban uses, wildlife refuges, vacant lots, memories of the past, and exciting possibilities for the future. With such history and tremendous potential, it is time for Laconia to come together and form a task force to make real a new partnership with the Winnipesaukee River, a partnership of people, history, and nature.
you just watched was made for an organizational meeting of the Riverwalk Action Committee. The Riverwalk Action Committee was an outgrowth of the 1999 planning charrette that was held at the shuttered Allen Rogers complex, now Beacon Street condominiums. While some of the Allen Rogers charrette focused on the reuse and development of the factory buildings, the group was equally determined to expand their horizon to include the Winnipesaukee River. Over the next several years, the committee met regularly at the Belknap Mill and finally decided to hold a public forum as part of a 4-day charrette in January 2004. It was a huge success, with many people showing up for the forums. On a bitter day in January, a couple of dozen people trudged through ice and snow to view parts of the river. Eventually, with a lot of help from private individuals, as well as city planning, parks and rec, and public works, a Riverwalk master plan was drawn up and adopted by the planning board. A 4-color wall-size map was created. Car-top launch behind the Rotary Bandstand was one of their first successes. But since then, almost every year, links have been completed from Church Street to Fair Street. The recent upgrading of the Best Western Hotel has seen another 100 yards completed. While there are still many links left to complete, Laconians should take great pride in their accomplishments, a true public-private partnership.